Hello, welcome to this tutorial for PolyPin. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at the sequences on the device. So PolyPin has 8 independent sequencer engines. You can access each one by using this tab slider here. If we choose sequencer 1, this whole area here is the sequencer 1 engine. Each sequencer can be a choice of 3 different sequencer modes. We have Probability, Euclidean and Classic, and each sequencer will generate a specific note. So this one is going to generate C1 and they go up from there. But you can change this independently if you need to. So at the moment this is going to control the first 8 cells of a drum rack. Let's take a look at the Euclidean sequencer first. So the Euclidean sequencer has just 2 main values that you give it: step size and hits. Steps are the number of steps in the sequencer. So at the moment we've got it set to 16, so we have 16 steps. We change this to 17, you can see it updates and it has 17 steps. So where this sequencer can be useful is if you want to create polyrhythms where you may be fixed with a classic style 16 step or 32 step sequencer. In this one we can change it to whatever we want. We've got a value between 1 and 32. The hits then are the active hits within the sequencer that will actually generate a note. So at the moment notes will be generated here, here, here and here. If I just play this, okay. By increasing or decreasing the hits, what happens is the Euclidean algorithm tries to equally space the hits within the number of steps. So 16 steps, 4 hits is fine. You can see they're very equal. But if we change this to 5, then we start to get slightly different lengths in between some of the steps to compensate. And this can be, again, useful when you're creating interesting polyrhythmic structures, but also what's interesting about the Euclidean algorithm is lots of different rhythms from all over the world can be broken down just to these 2 numbers, steps and hits. I've included some presets in here to get you started. So if we try, for example, Bossa Nova, and we start the sequence, we can rotate or offset this. Okay, let's try the second sequencer with something else. We'll randomize it this time. Okay, we can change the velocity here, and we can have random velocity as well. Okay, for the hi-hat, let's try the classic sequencer. So I've chosen sequencer 3, classic sequencer, and this is a classic 16 or 32 step sequencer. Again, there's some presets in here to get you started, but it's fairly straightforward. Dragging up a slider activates the step, and then the slider is also the velocity. Again, you can randomize this, and you can also change it to 32 steps as well. you want to change the rate of a sequence, just go to rate, and we can make this slower. Okay, let's try the probability sequencer. So probability. So what this one does is we have 4 sections, and what they do is they determine the interval between the next hit. So the higher the interval, the quicker the next hit will come round. And you can choose the chance of each one. So the reason there's 4 is to create the interesting sort of rhythms. If we had no chance on any of them other than the first one, then this would just play at 16th notes. But by having different intervals and chances, so we have a chance of 10 here, chance of 5 here, separate velocity control for each one, or you can have global velocity. You can change it from sync to milliseconds as well. Again, there are some presets to get started. So even though we have 16th notes, 32 8th note triplets, for example, selected here, by changing the rate works more like a multiplier, and it speeds up or slows down the overall sequence. So it will still have an effect on these, it will reduce their rates accordingly.